a lot of products have a life cycle. They launch, they do well, they grow, and then competition comes in, margins go down. By getting multiple quotes, you can then get the lowest one, decrease your cost of goods, increase your profit.
What's the biggest mindset shift entrepreneurs need to make to scale their business effectively? Because mindset is very important to scale a business.
Wider pool of buyers that could buy your business, which is going to mean easier to sell, faster to sell. So let's say you're selling, $100,000 a month. Let's say you have 25% margins. So you should be making 25 grand a month. The reality though, with product businesses is so much of that money goes back into buying more inventory, launching new products. So many people that I talk to about growing their team and hiring, they have these false beliefs that they can't find somebody good enough to do whatever it is.
Starting an online business is easy, but scaling that business to get profit and to be at certain level so you can actually sell that business and exit from that business is very difficult. So right now in this video, we will discuss about how you can start your business, how you can scale your business, and how you can actually sell that business to get exit. So basically there are two types of people, number one, who start a business, scale business, and keep working on the same business for the lifetime. Number two, who start a business, grow that business, and sell that business to get money. So the reason behind that is, for example, you are getting X amount of money every month profit from your business. So to get 24X amount of money, you need to work and wait for 2 years. But if you sell that business right now, so you can actually get 24X, 2 years income in just one go. And from that money, you can actually build other business as well. So you can actually grow them later and sell. So by this one decision, you can actually go 2 years ahead in your life, which can actually save your time and give you more time, money, and freedom. So just like that, today I have recorded a podcast with a great entrepreneur. His name is Nate Ginsburg, and he's an expert in scaling business, building business, and selling business. So in this video, we will talk about in detail about this flipping strategy, why flipping is important and how you can actually grow fast with 10x speed with your business so you can achieve your goal, save your time, and you will become 10 years ahead in your life by following the same strategy which we have discussed in this video. So keep watching. Hey, what's up everyone? I'm Uzair from waystosellonline.com and welcome to the Ways to Sell Online show. So where we invite the industry experts from the e-commerce industry, we discuss a lot of things with them regarding their journey so you guys can actually learn from them and implement those strategies. So just like that, in this video, we are having a very special guest with us. His name is Nate Ginsburg. He is the founder of multiple businesses. He start business, grow those business, and sell those business. So in this video, we'll talk about why we need to start a business and why we need to sell a business to get more money, right? So Nate, how are you doing?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, welcome to the show. So first of all, let us know something about you, for those people who don't know you, so they can know who you are, what you do, and then we can just move on to our discussion, why we need to flip the business, how we can grow, and how you are managing the team and all the businesses.
Sure. So yeah, the quick backstory. I mean, I've been an entrepreneur now for I think 12 years. So been at it for a while. I got into selling on Amazon in maybe 2015, and that was the first business that really, was kind of taking off and scaling. And so grew that for a couple of years and then sold it. And after selling it, I was always really good with team. And so when I sold my Amazon business, I had a small team that was, running it for me. And then I thought that could be a good opportunity to start offering services. And so that became one company, Sellerplex, which I think that was started the beginning of 2018. So we've been around for, 6 going on, maybe 7 years or so. And yeah, that's a full service Amazon agency. We do account management, PPC, supply chain, accounting. So that's one company. There's I think maybe 80 people globally that run that business. Then Sellerplex during the Amazon the aggregator boom started to do some due diligence projects for aggregators, and then we were getting more into that, and then that kind of got me more interested in M&A. and connected with what was the like industry leader for digital acquisitions, this company Centurica that I was interested in acquiring. And so reached out to the owner. Fast forward, long story short, acquired Centurica, which provides due diligence and quality of earnings, working with buyers of companies. And so, yeah, I have a lot of experience with buying businesses and around a lot of people buying businesses. And then, also from Sellerplex, we saw an opportunity. So Sellerplex does a good amount of supply chain management, and we, for supply chain management, work with a lot of freight forwarders. And then we saw an opportunity to, provide a better, cheaper forwarding service to our clients than what we were doing, with other vendors. And so launched freight forwarding company, NTMK Logistics, which has now been around for a little more than 2 years. And last but not least, have a staffing business. And so, with all my companies, like very good with team and infrastructure and, managing multiple companies while still balancing. I mean, I do a lot of health fitness and yeah, I mean, I think balance is important, and I'm able to do that because of, the amazing teams and people that I have around me. And so that's a lot of how I, love to help other business owners around, whether it's via services or recruiting or, consulting. It's just like helping them to build the business in a way that is, services them, that also gives them options. And so, I would recommend, for anyone, and we can get, more into these details, but like whether or not you want to sell your business in the future, it's going to be smart to build the business in the way that you could sell it. And whether you actually do want to sell it, if you build it to be sold, you're going to be building a better business, less reliant on you. That also gives you options. So you can sell, you don't have to, but you can. And so, yeah, I mean, these are, I think, all things we can dive into more.
Okay, that's great. So basically, why, like you said that you started Amazon business in 2015 and then you sell it. So why you need to sell it? Like why, if someone is having a business and it is running on autopilot, so why should he sell, or why should he not running that business for a long term? What are the benefits?
Yeah, so I mean, with that brand, really the short answer of why I sold is I got a good offer. And this was something I wasn't really thinking of selling, listing the business, going through this whole process. I got approached, pretty randomly with a buyer who was interested, and put together an offer that like was attractive to me. And so that's what led to the sale there, and is a reason why it's good, even if you're not planning on selling, but building it so you can sell. So I had the opportunity to sell, and I did. But if the business was a lot messier, that would have been, much more challenging. And so yeah, one, I got a good offer. And then two, I mean, with Amazon brands, a lot of products have a life cycle. They launch, they do well, they grow, and then, competition comes in, margins go down. This doesn't happen to all products, but I saw some of my main SKUs were kind of on this, trajectory, and maybe peaked or peaking. And then, yeah, I mean, if I was, fast forward to the, moving forward, would have thought that, yeah, some of our best-selling products were like gonna go down, not up. And so I thought it was the timing was also good to sell.
Okay, so what do you say about others? Like if someone is running Amazon business and he get an offer, so what should he do? Like should he sell that business or keep working on that? What is the benefit of selling a business?
I mean, there's a lot of benefits, and it depends a lot on your financial situation, your goals. E-commerce businesses are like, especially selling on Amazon, you can grow a lot of revenue very quickly, but that doesn't really always translate into money into your pocket. So let's say you're selling, $100,000 a month. Let's say you have 25% margins. So you should be like, making 25 grand a month. The reality though, with product businesses is so much of that money goes back into buying more inventory, launching new products. And so maybe made profit of quote $25,000, but it's not like your cash flow and is $25,000. A lot of, or all of that could be going back into the business for more inventory, more products. And so yeah, I mean, you're building an asset that you can then sell, but the cash flow isn't, a lot of times you're not paying yourself very much as the business is growing and as you're scaling. And so yeah, getting a windfall is one of the reasons why good to, have the opportunity or option to sell it.
Okay, so you said that if a business is messy, so it's difficult to sell that. So what is the biggest challenge in building business that both scalable and sellable, and how can e-commerce seller overcome it?
Yeah, I'd say so two things. One is around the financials. And so this is the biggest thing, or one of the biggest things that's going to, stop or block or mess up a sale is going to be, correct numbers or incomplete numbers. And so, when I had the opportunity, when someone approached me about buying my business, I had a good, accounting department. So I had good numbers. So when they approached me, we could have a intelligent conversation around valuations. And so that's one part of it is having the numbers. And then also it's something, I know from doing due diligence that if the numbers are, a lot of people think they're doing their bookkeeping and accounting correctly, but actually aren't. And this comes out later. So let's say I'm buying your business and you say you did $1 million in sales and 25% profit. So we come to an agreement on a valuation, say it's, we're buying it for $1 million or whatever. And then, and then you hire a company to do due diligence, and then you rebuild it, and then you find out, oh, well, you said that you made, $300,000, but actually you only made 250 or 200. And, that affects ultimately it affects the valuation and the price, but it also, creates tension. I mean, if you're the seller and you think that your numbers should be worth $1 million, but then the buyer comes through and realizes that, you were doing it wrong. And so they're like, oh, your business is only worth 700. It's just, it makes things more difficult because you could already have an expectation. One of the biggest challenges in selling a business is aligning expectations. So if you think the business should be worth here, even if it's based off of incorrect information, it's going to be harder for you to accept an offer, even if it's the appropriate offer, if it's lower, because you already had your expectation up there. And so yeah, having good numbers is really important. The other one is, operationally, the business being able to be, transferred. So this is sort of the, transferability is the word for it. But if you're running your business and you're doing everything, you're placing all the orders, you're developing the new products, you're doing the marketing, you're doing the launches, that's going to be really hard for someone else to buy. That's not to say that it's still anything is possible, but the pool of potential buyers is going to be much, much, much smaller than if you had a business that was well organized, had good departments and leadership where, it's running more or less without you. That's just going to be, there's going to be a lot wider pool of buyers that could buy your business, which is going to mean easier to sell, faster to sell. More potential buyers means there could be, multiple offers that could raise the price. Whereas if it is dependent on you, the amount of buyers is going to be much smaller. And so the valuation probably is going to go down. And it's just going to be harder to sell.
Okay, so if a business is transferable and having good organizational structure and having a good bookkeeping, so it can actually attract the buyer even more.
Correct.
Okay, so can you share your top strategies for preparing a business for sale? What makes a business attractive for buyers? You have already told it, but what are top strategies? Before selling a business, how did you prepare it?
Yeah, so some advice on that. The ways businesses are usually valued is a multiple of the trailing 12 profit, or SDE, solid discretionary earnings, EBITDA if it's a bigger business. But these are just different words for, different kinds of like profit calculations. And so you're valued on a multiple of your profit from the last year. And so with that in mind, and as a part of the valuation, there are these things called add backs. And so an add back is something that is an expense on your P&L, but maybe it's a one-time expense that the owner could reasonably add back, that like isn't isn't a part of the business expenses going forward. So like, one example could be uh if you replaced a computer. So it's like, oh, you're running your business, and let's say you bought a new laptop on, that's a business expense for, $2,000. And then you could argue like, oh, well, like, buying a laptop's, it's not something that usually happens. That was also, it was for business, but also was for personal use. So like you'd say, oh, like that $2,000 expense is, an add back on the P&L. And so, gets included in your, profit calculations. And so, this is one of the big areas that's like contentious during due diligence, because the buyers are going to claim, or the sellers are going to claim everything's an add back. All like tons of the expenses are discretionary or one time, so they should be added back. And then the buyer is going to go through and say, no, like those aren't discretionary, they shouldn't be added back. So this is one of the things that's, a bit contentious, because the seller is going to want more add backs, the buyer is going to want less add backs. And so with that in mind, as the seller coming into that last year, really being aware of what you're spending money on, and like being careful and spending, less discretionary spending than, if you weren't thinking to sell, because that everything that you're spending, it's going to be scrutinized by the buyer. And so being more aware of that would be, would be one tip. So yeah, just kind of like running the company, really focusing on, profit and profitability for that last year is going to be, put you in a better spot to, get you a better valuation. Some other stuff too. I mean, a good piece of advice is like, have a buyer in mind, or a kind of buyer in mind early. And so there are a lot of different types of buyers, and depending on your business, you could be attractive to different kinds of buyers. And so, one is like an individual buyer. So that could be someone who, they're just interested in, oh, I want to buy my own business. I have $1 million. I'm going to go, find a business that's making whatever profit, and I want to buy it. And like, that's one type of buyer, and they're interested in, like cash flow. They're really buying on the multiple of the earnings, is like, they're what's called a financial buyer. And so that's one type of buyer that's, like the reason they're buying it and the valuation is based off of the financials and the cash flow. But then there are other buyers that are strategic buyers, and these buyers they're interested in the cash flow, but also there's additional benefits, and so that means that they're willing and able to pay more. So one example, let's say you have a fitness brand, and let's say there's a strategic buyer, let's say it's a fitness app, or it's some fitness event community, and their interest in buying your fitness brand, it's one, the cash flow and profits from the business, but then additionally, they can plug that into their ecosystem and, cross-sell to their customers and clients, and like, there's more value to be had with the strategic. And so, so kind of knowing, having an idea of who you want to sell to can be useful, because then you can potentially, I mean, this happens a lot with like bigger businesses and bigger transactions, but it's like, you can build a relationship with your potential buyer way in advance. So you reach out to them and say, hey, I see that we have a business in a similar space. Um, I'm not ready to sell my company yet, but in a couple years, maybe this could be something that could be a good fit for you. And then you can even ask them like, hey, like what would, where would we need to be in order to make this an attractive acquisition for you? And they could say, okay, great. Well, you need to be, this size, we really care about these things. If you can do really good, XYZ, that would make this, an attractive acquisition for us. So you can say, okay, great. And then you go and they tell you, they basically give you the roadmap of like how you need to grow the business so that you can be attractive to that buyer. And so yeah, those are some strategies that like, beforehand that you can do.
Okay, amazing. So while scaling the business, we should need to take care of those factors, and we need to work on those factors which attracts the buyer more while selling the business, right? Okay.
Right.
So at what stage should entrepreneurs start thinking about scaling their e-commerce business, and what indicator signal they're ready?
Yeah, I mean, if we're talking about scaling, it's really, I think if you found something that works and has traction, and so, if you're able to launch your first product and successfully launch it, market it, it's growing, if you then have, uncovered or built like a repeatable process, like that's the scale. So, okay, great. Well, you did one product, then you add another. Great. Now you add another. Now you add another. That's scaling. And so, when you have like a process that you think you can repeat, yeah, that's when you can look and scale.
So how do you structure your team for scalability? Like what roles should e-commerce seller focus on first, then expanding?
Yeah, so when it comes to like team and team structure, all businesses, broadly speaking, have similar like departments. And so, you can think of like an org chart. So an org chart for any business at a high level is going to look similar. You've got the leadership at the top, the CEO, the visionary. You've got, marketing, growth, which is going to be like outward facing from the company. Then you've got operations, which is going to be, internally facing in the company. And then you've got like finance and HR, which are like supporting functions. And so, whether you're an Amazon business or an e-commerce brand or an agency or a software, like they all have those same, marketing, growth, outward, operations, internal, HR, and finance. And so then within that, or more specifically with an Amazon business, if you look at the growth marketing, that's probably going to be like a new product development department. And then also, like a product launch or Amazon, as your sales channel. And then you've got, your internal operations. So like supply chain management, and then, finance, accounting, and then, HR, depending on the size of the company. So like those are the different buckets. And kind of thinking of filling out your org chart with new product development, Amazon, supply chain, accounting, and like with the org chart, you can have one person that sits in more than one seat. So when you start the business and it's just you could be sitting in all of those different roles. But, as you grow, kind of like the game is unplugging yourself from the different roles that you aren't as good at or don't want to be doing. So let's say you're great at new product development, but you're not so good at supply chain management. Okay, great. Well, supply chain management, you'd want to look to hire someone there, first, so that you can remove yourself so you can focus more on, new product development. Bookkeeping, accounting, same thing. It's like, okay, well, you're probably not suited to do bookkeeping, so, find someone else to do that to, remove you as the bottleneck, and allow you to focus more on the areas that you're, best suited.
So we need to keep hiring people and keep unplugging ourselves from different positions.
Yeah, exactly. And that, that kind of exercise always, it's dynamic. And so what happens is, okay, so first you're doing everything, then you unplug yourself from supply chain, from accounting. Now you're doing Amazon and new product development. But then, now all of a sudden, under Amazon, you're doing a lot of customer service or account admin. So okay, well now you find someone to unplug yourself from those. And then, as you're going and now, new product development, you want to launch, 10 products and that's too much for you. So okay, so now you bring on, an assistant or someone. It's like, oh, well, you love designing products, but you don't like sourcing them. So now you bring on someone that's focused on sourcing. And so you're coming up with the new ideas, you're doing the design. So it's, as you unplug yourself from different things, your attention's naturally going to go into other things. And then, if those other things start to take up more of your time, that's another opportunity to, hire someone to, get that off your plate. So it's a dynamic thing. And, businesses change and evolve. And so as you, it's like an ongoing exercise of like, all right, like, what am I doing? What's currently on my plate? What should I delegate? What can I hire someone else to do so I can focus on, more important things?
So when building a sellable business, what should seller do differently as compared to those who plan to run their business for a long term?
I think whether or not they want to sell or for the long term, I think you want to build it the same way. And, and that's keeping good financials, good P&L management is important for any business if you want to sell or if you want to, hold it forever. I guess the only, maybe difference I think it's, generally a good idea to build it so that you can sell it, even if that's not your intention. But I guess one thing that you would do different if you do want to sell would be probably earlier or proactively reaching out to potential buyers. So like I was saying, if you have a brand in the fitness industry, reach out to potential other companies in the fitness industry that could be strategic buyers, because those are you're going to get the best valuation from strategics. And so, that's something that you would do if you, to be proactive with an exit that you wouldn't need to if you aren't planning on selling.
So what are the common mistakes e-commerce sellers make when trying to scale, and how they can avoid those pitfalls?
Yeah, the first thing that comes to mind is just bad P&L management. And so what I mean by that is, especially like first-time business owners, if you're running an FBA business or an e-com business, well, we'll stick with FBA for now, but a lot of them, they're just not very aware of their, they're not on top of their numbers. And so maybe they have some, profit dashboard that shows them sales and, has loose cost of goods, but like, that's not like 100% accurate. And where people also, I think like common mistakes is like, oh, you're doing a launch. And so, you do a bunch of discounted promotions and you're, doing giveaways and this and that. And like, you're not accounting for all the expenses involved in doing a product launch. And so I think it's possible that you can, spend too much, give too much away, discounting too much, you're actually like losing money. And, you're not even aware of it because, you're not on top of your finances in the way that you, could or should be. And so I think just like having really good, especially with e-commerce, like managing your cash flow is so important. And in order to do that, you really need to have good, financials. And so have a good, good bookkeeping, good accounting, which, is something that a lot of people don't do. They don't think it's important, so they don't do it. And then they don't realize that later down the road, it comes back to bite them.
So in your experience, what's the biggest mindset shift entrepreneurs need to make to scale their business effectively? Because mindset is very important to scale a business.
Yeah, I think when it comes to mindset, I think the biggest one is just realizing that like you can build a business that is, not dependent on you that you're the owner of, that you have a good team. So many people that I talk to about growing their team and hiring, they have these false beliefs that like they can't find somebody good enough to do whatever it is. And that's just incorrect. However good you are at whatever it is you're doing, there's definitely someone out there that can do that. I mean, there's 7 billion people in the world. The chances that you're literally the only one in the world that can do this thing is not likely. And so that's a big mindset of just like knowing that you can find good people who can help you in these areas, that like it is possible, is probably, one of the mindsets that, are important to be able to do that.
Great. So, how can an entrepreneur scale their business without losing control over the quality of their product and customer experience? Because I have seen that many people, when they try to scale, they compromise on the quality and they are not able to manage the huge amount of customer base.
Yeah, with not compromising quality, I mean, it comes down to like building the team the right way. And so, my companies are service businesses. We provide services, and, we've grown a lot over the years. And for us, like every quarter, our number one objective is like do good work, take care of our clients. Retention is more important. Retention with our current clients is more important than growth with new clients.
Exactly.
And so, really prioritizing quality over growth, I think is how you do that. And so, impressing that on the team that like, look, like quality number one, we don't want to sacrifice quality, in order to grow. We'd rather grow less and keep the quality high, because that's going to be a better foundation for the long term. So yeah, kind of like just really keeping the focus on quality always.
Exactly. So I have seen on your Facebook like you balance your work life very in a very good manner. Like you do gym, you do yoga. So balancing personal life and running a growing business can be tough. So what tips do you have for maintaining that balance, like while still pushing for growth?
So when it comes to balance and balancing lifestyle and also growth. So a couple of things. The first is having the right support around you. So I wouldn't be able to spend as much time exercising or take time off if I didn't have the right team behind me. So that's the first part of it. And then the other part of it is realizing that a lot of your most important work is not done behind the computer. And so for me, I do a lot of biking, I go on a lot of walks, and when I'm doing that, that's a lot of like thinking time where I'm thinking about my businesses, thinking about different opportunities or things that are kind of on my plate. And so having that time for kind of higher level thinking is some of the most important that you can have as the business owner. And so knowing that staying busy behind a computer for 10 hours a day that's not actually your like best and highest use. If you do that, you don't have any time to think about the big vision, think about big opportunities. And so like knowing that, so like having a good team behind you and realizing that some of your most important work is, not done behind the computer.
Amazing. So what do you say about delegation? Like delegation is the key to scaling, but many people struggle with it. Like what's your advice for e-commerce sellers learning to trust their teams?
Yeah, delegation is it can be tricky.
Tricky for
Because
many people.
it's important. Really, again, it kind of comes down to the first part of it is like having the right people to delegate to. And so, I, my whole career, like I've been, just very experienced when it comes to hiring. And so for a long time I'm very confident in my ability to hire. And so, having the right people to delegate to is the first part. The second part is a healthy amount of, letting go of control. And so, again, the first part is having the right people to delegate to. But then when you have the right person, you need to be okay releasing some control and not micromanaging. And
Exactly.
in doing so, the reality is that person, they might not do it exactly how you do it, or they might not do it even as good as if you were doing it. But also knowing that a little bit of margin for, like let's say you do a task, you do it 100% and you hire someone and they do it, not 100, but 90%. So it's a little bit not as good as how you would do it. And, you need to realize though that them doing it at 90% versus you doing it 100%. But if that allows you to, free up that mind space, free up that time, like that's actually worth it and better for you and better for the business long term than if you hold on to it, because you do it a little bit better. And so understanding that and also, being understanding of the team that when you hand something over, yeah, they probably will make some mistakes and some things aren't going to be done exactly how you would. And, and again, this starts with the foundation of making sure these are still the right people to delegate to, but that there will be some, quality that's lost, but a little bit is okay and to be expected. And, so yeah, those are some tips on delegating.
Great. So as you said that like the way of doing business is changing nowadays. Like you already said, like you're having 80 plus employees in Sellerplex and they are remote employees. So if any other e-commerce seller is doing that, so how can e-commerce seller build a strong company culture when growing their team, especially in remote or hybrid work settings?
So I love the topic of company culture, and that's something that we've done very well. I mean, and I'm really proud of in my businesses. And so the first one is, it all starts with the people that you hire. And so, making sure that you're hiring good people that have good attitudes, that have good mindset. One kind of classic way to do this is to develop your company core values. So that's a set of 3, 4, 5, however many values that are like important to you, your company, and, the people that join your company. And so, establishing good core values and then using that as, a part of your hiring is a way to ensure that you have people that are aligned. And so, you know, not just hiring people only based off of their skills, but also looking at account their attitudes, how they communicate, exactly their mindset, so that you hire people that they do the job and they're the right fit culturally.
Okay, so as you said, this is your favorite topic. So what's the first step to building your team like that can manage and grow the business without your constant involvement?
Yeah, the first thing is probably, like I was saying earlier, around setting up the organizational chart. And so, the organizational chart is like the blueprint for your company. And like having an awareness of your org chart from the beginning is going to allow you to, build it in the right way. And so keeping that vantage point of your, above the business, looking down and filling the different, parts of your machine is the first way to think of, what you're building. So you can build it in a way where, you're the architect and you're the owner and you're looking down on the business, as opposed to being stuck in, any of the roles. So like always keeping that high level vantage point is the first thing.
So can you share any strategies for keeping employees motivated and aligned with the business vision as the company grows? Because I have seen that many of the employees like lose their motivation while working because they need keep pushing.
Yeah, you're right. A lot of people, I think, manage their teams very poorly. And
Exactly.
so some things, at the core, people like they need to be taken care of. And so they need to be, some level of oversight, some level of checking in, some level of soliciting their feedback. Like these are all things that are important that a lot of people I know, it's like, oh, I'm building my business from behind a computer. I'm just going to hire this person. They're going to do the job. And then I don't have to do anything. And it doesn't work that way because you're dealing with people and, people, they want to be heard. They want to contribute. They want to improve. And so it's your responsibility to provide at least some of that, in your working environment. And so, on my team, I mean, I have great managers. And so, we have regular check-ins with the team, goal setting for them, for the department, quarterly or, biannual reviews, performance reviews of how they're doing and, where they can improve. We do stuff like, we send out regular like surveys to get their feedback on how are they doing, how's the company doing. And so yeah, these are just, some things that you can do to like engage the team. And yeah, like, keeping that communication so that you can, so that, they stay engaged and performing and improving, as opposed to just like ignoring them, and then that's not a recipe for success.
Okay, that's a great tip. So, what should e-commerce sellers prioritize first? Product innovation, marketing, or team growth when scaling?
What should
It's a
they
difficult question. Like, what should they
prioritize?
prioritize first? Like, first they need to think about product innovation, marketing, or team building. Like, if they want to
Yeah.
scale.
I, some of these, it kind of depends on where the bottleneck is. And so, let's say you're a company and you have a couple of products that are selling really well. And, the bottleneck is, your time and you're running around and doing everything. So like in that instance, prioritizing team to be able to resolve that bottleneck would be, the where to start. Whereas if it's another company that is, let's say it's growing, but you really want to supercharge the growth. Uh, maybe it's not so hectic in terms of managing the operations or this. So in that case, then prioritizing, growth and new products. So yeah, everything really depends on where the company is.
Okay, so when someone is preparing a business like to sell, so when preparing a business for sale, what financial metrics or indicators are most important to ensure a successful exit?
Yeah. So when it comes to the financials, I mean, top line revenue, um, your gross profit. So that's going to be revenue minus cost of goods. And then your bottom line, your, EBITDA, net income, SDE. So that's going to be your, revenue minus COGS minus other expenses. And so ultimately that's the most important number, the bottom line, your SDE, your EBITDA, your profit. And so, being very aware of and on top of that number, because that's where you're going to be, that's what you're going to be valued off of.
Okay, so what role does technology play in scaling an e-commerce business, and which tools are essential for managing the growth effectively?
Well, I mean, the first big one is, you're selling on Amazon and FBA, which, automates a lot of the process, or Shopify, that's going to, again, automate a lot of those pieces of technology are super important. And other than that, it really like depends on the business and where they're at. You don't need a lot of like to run a successful, Amazon brand or, e-commerce brand. It's not, I don't know. There's a lot of different tools you can use for, managing a PPC or, managing your account or some Facebook ad stuff. And it's not, I don't know. I mean, it kind of depends on where the business is at. It's less like, I think like the big technology, leverage is, Amazon, Shopify, using FBA, which is going to, automate a lot of things as opposed to picking and packing and, yourself and trying to distribute without that audience.
Okay, so with the help of these technologies, we can actually automate a stuff so we can get ourselves free. So just like that, you already said like doing a business is very different nowadays with the help of technology and like growing tactics. So how can e-commerce sellers create a business model that is not just scalable but also offers them more personal freedom over time? Because I have seen that many of the people doing the business are not having time freedom. Like they are keeping stuck in their business and they are not having freedom. So what do they do for the freedom?
Yeah, I think it comes down to having the right team around you. I mean, whether it's e-commerce, SaaS, agency, local service, all the businesses, it's like any business can be, location independent and can give you freedom as long as you have the right team supporting it. So yeah, I mean, you know, with all my companies have great teams that run the businesses that I'm not involved day to day. And so it's really about having a good team regardless of the model, and whatever the model is, you can achieve that freedom with the right team behind you.
So both of your main companies, which are Sellerplex and Centurica, how they can help people to scale their business and sell? Like what services you guys can provide or how they can contact you?
Yeah, thanks. So with Sellerplex, the original vision of Sellerplex was really supporting other e-commerce entrepreneurs to allow them to unplug from the areas that they don't want to be working in or shouldn't be working in, so that they can, remove themselves more, have more balance, focus on more higher level. So the way Sellerplex is set up is we have a really wide range of services, and we're like boutique and a la carte. And so let's say you come to us and you're like, oh, I just need help with supply chain management. Great. We'll help you with just supply chain management. You're like, oh, I just need help with PPC. Sure. Help you with just PPC. Oh, I just need bookkeeping. Oh, I just need, Amazon admin or content or TikTok or whatever. And so, it's really set up in a way to just plug into wherever you're at. And if you need help with all the things, we're happy to do that as well. But it's really, built to be flexible to support you to, delegate whatever those areas are that you are, that you don't have good pieces in place for. And then I'd say, the other company that like can help with valuations and more kind of directly is going to be our freight forwarding business. So that's NTMK Logistics. And with NTMK, freight is one of the profit levers. And so if in a lot of people, they don't shop around freight forwarders. They just work with one and they just keep working with them, and they don't really know that that's an area that you can, potentially save yourself money,
Actually
increase
put out more profit.
Exactly. And so, and with freight too, it's a very low risk. Like, you can, go to NTMK, you just submit your, shipment for a quote. And then if we beat and you can get multiple quotes, it's easy to get, you should get multiple quotes. And so, by getting multiple quotes, you can then get the lowest one, decrease your cost of goods, increase your profit. And yeah, I mean, just from working with a lot of different sellers, freight is an area that can save you money, increase your valuation, and it's something that a lot of sellers underutilize because they just, go with whatever forwarder they've used. So yeah, that'd be another one.
Okay, amazing. So I'm really impressed by your strategy of unplugging and all of the things which we discussed today. You guys can actually help people to make them unplug from their responsibility in their business, so they can actually scale and they can actually run their business smoothly.
Yeah, absolutely. So happy to help anyone that is, needs help anywhere in their business, unplugging, scaling, saving money, preparing for an exit. Best place to find us is probably sellerplex.com. You can reach out, and, all the teams are connected. And so, if you have a question that's, any of the other businesses, we can, get you connected there too. But yeah, sellerplex.com is the best place to connect.
It's great, like anyone can actually contact you guys because you are expert and you can actually help them to like scale, to unplug them. So you guys can actually take the responsibility and they can actually move on like with hassle free.
Exactly. That's exactly how we like to help people, and yeah, have a lot of good experience doing that. So
You're
if
having a
that,
good team, you're having a good culture.
yeah, exactly. And so yeah, if that's something, if you just want to focus on growing the business and, delegate the things that you don't want to be managing, we're a great resource to support you in doing that.
Great. So at last, what's the one piece of advice you would give to e-commerce sellers, like about when and how to exit their business on their own terms?
I think knowing your goals beforehand. And so, knowing your goals, let's say, what's your number? Oh, you want to build for $1 million exit or a $5 million or $10 million exit. Okay. If that's your goal, work backwards, how much profit do you need to get valued at that? Reach out to potential buyers to get a better sense of, okay, well, like, what do they want to see in order for you to be an attractive acquisition to be sold at the price that you want to be sold at? So these are all things that you can, think about beforehand and really prepare for, as opposed to just one day, like, hey, maybe I should sell the business. So yeah, just really like thinking about those things beforehand is going to put you in a much better spot.
Okay, great. So I think that's it for today. Like I have the answer of all of the questions which I got from so many people, and you are the experienced guy, and you have like really answered all of the question in a very understandable manner. So thank you for sharing your knowledge with us and with the audience. Nice to meet you.
All right. Thanks for having me.
So that's it for today, guys. I hope you really enjoyed the video and learned something great from it. So if you find my content really informative and helpful for you, then make sure to like the video and subscribe the channel as well, so you can watch more and more videos like this in future. Let's meet in the next video. Till then, take care. Bye.